Albert Bandura's Bobo Doll Experiment investigated whether social behaviors might be acquired simply by seeing others in action. In the acclaimed television show Big Little Lies, emotions rise after an unknown child is accused of choking another pupil. This is a minor spoiler for the series. The youngster is revealed to be the character Max. Max has an abusive father, and when Max's mother learns her child is absorbing traits from her husband, she chooses to intervene. This cycle of abuse is heartbreaking, but it is too widespread in today's environment. Many abusers were abused or grew up in an abusive environment. These principles may appear simple, yet evidence supporting them was only recently becoming available in the mid-20th century. Hey everyone, it's Knowle, your gateway to understanding human behavior and emotions. Join us for fascinating insights. Hit subscribe for a part of our journey through the exciting field of psychology. So what is the Bobo Doll Experiment? Albert Bandura, a Canadian-American psychologist, carried out this experiment at Stanford in 1961. He put several youngsters in a room with an adult, some toys, and a 5-foot-tall Bobo doll. A Bobo doll is a giant inflatable clown that resembles a bowling pin. As a result, when punched or knocked down, they invariably roll upward. Anyway, this experiment established Albert Bandura as one of the most well-known psychologists in history. To this day, he is placed alongside Freud and B.S. Skinner. In this video, I will describe the Bobo Doll experiments, how they altered the field of psychology, and how they continue to have an effect on us today. So let's get started by discussing Bandura's first Bobo Doll experiment. In 1961, he conducted 3 separate experiments: modeling violence, arousal, and the delayed imitation test. The first stage involved modeling, and the study was divided into 3 groups, one of which served as a control group. 2 of the groups were in a room with a model who was essentially an adult. One group saw the adult punching the Bobo doll repeatedly and using harsh and abusive remarks toward the inflatable clown. Some of these models elected to strike the Bobo doll in the head with a hammer. Now, the second group did not see this behavior. They merely observed the model playing with blocks, coloring, or engaging in other non-aggressive kid hobbies. The goal here is to split the groups to observe if they are watching the models and then imitating their behaviors. The second stage is aggressive arousal. After 10 minutes in the room with the model, the youngster was brought to another room. Now, this room had a variety of appealing toys, and the researchers momentarily let the youngsters to play with them. However, as kids were playing with the toys, the researchers walked in and took them away. They then led the children into another room. It's easy to guess, and that was exactly the purpose, that the kids were frustrated. However, the researchers wanted to examine what these children would do and how they would express their dissatisfaction. This stage is known as aggressive arousal. Stage 3 is the test for delayed imitation. So the third area had a variety of aggressive and non-violent toys. The room also included the Bobo doll. The researchers observed and documented each child's conduct using a one-way mirror. You might be wondering what occurred. As you might expect, youngsters who witnessed adults beating the Bobo doll were more likely to express their irritation by hitting the Bobo doll themselves. They kicked, shouted, and even used a hammer to strike the doll in the head. One of the most noteworthy findings was that youngsters who watched non-aggressive adults were more inclined to avoid the Bobo doll and vent their frustrations without resorting to hostility or violence. And this means a lot. It means that we learn how to cope with frustration and unfavorable situations from a very young age, perhaps too young to remember. The difficulty is that no one chooses their parents, so you could be imitating either healthy or bad behavior. But let us go on. I'm going to discuss the second Bobo Doll experiment. 2 years later, he conducted another experiment using a Bobo doll, this time combining modeling and conditioning, another well-known psychological concept. He wanted to see if people were actually motivated by consequences or if there was more to their actions and attitudes. In this experiment, Bandura showed youngsters a video of a model being hostile toward a Bobo doll. 3 sets of children each observed a different concluding moment from the video. The children in the control group watched nothing but the model hitting the Bobo doll, while another group saw the model receiving a reward for their conduct, and the last group saw the model being punished and cautioned not to act aggressively toward the Bobo doll. As a result, each of these 3 sets of youngsters was relocated to their own room, which contained toys and a Bobo doll. Bandura then discovered that youngsters who witnessed the model receiving a reprimand were less likely to be hostile toward the doll. A second observation is particularly interesting. When researchers encouraged the youngsters to act aggressively against the Bobo doll, as seen in the film they did. This may not seem relevant at first, but it raises an intriguing issue about learned behaviors. So by seeing the model and observing the activities, the youngsters learned the behavior. Learning, often known as recalling the model's behaviors, happened because the children were present to witness them. Now the consequences simply influence whether or not the children choose to practice the learned actions. The memory of the hostility remained, regardless of whether the youngster witnessed the aggression being rewarded or punished. This is also significant. It suggests that just being in a negative situation helps you learn. However, the implications of your surroundings influence how you decide when you face a similar circumstance in the future. There's one additional aspect of the 1963 study worth highlighting. While some of the children in the trial watched a movie, others observed a live model. Now, did this make a significant difference in whether or not the youngsters learned and demonstrated aggressive behaviors? Not really. The Bobo Doll Experiment has come up again and again as psychologists and researchers debate the concept and impact of violent media. When children play or watch violent video games, are they more prone to perpetrate violence? Or, as in the Bobo Doll Experiment, do the children just learn the behaviors but retain agency over whether or not they perform them? This conversation is still an important element of psychology today. Who knows? It might not have been if Albert Bandura hadn't established observational learning and social learning theory. As I conclude this video, the Bobo Doll experiments remain one of the most important experiments in the field of psychology. I hope you learned a lot about the Bobo Doll Experiment today. As we conclude, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope you found value in this video and learned something new, and I look forward to seeing you in our future videos. I would deeply value it if you could like this video and subscribe to our channel. Your support will help us to create more valuable content. What are the key takeaways from this video that you can share in the comment section?